Mauritius, with a closer look at Grand Baie, island stability and simple taxes, current as of August 25, 2026. Mauritius is often marketed as a tropical tax haven with beaches, political stability, and an easy path to residency. That description is not entirely wrong, but it is incomplete. The island is more orderly than Bali, less intense than Dubai, and more expensive than many people expect. For retirees and internationally funded families, Mauritius can offer a comfortable combination of safety, English and French-speaking services, private healthcare, international schools, reliable internet, and relatively straightforward residency options. But the best place to live depends heavily on what you want from island life. Grand Baie is the easiest choice for beaches, restaurants, shopping, nightlife, and an established expatriate community. Tamarin offers a quieter, more residential West Coast lifestyle, with surf, sunsets, and a strong family appeal. Mocha is inland, cooler, more connected to schools, hospitals, offices, and modern developments, but it does not provide the classic beach town experience. The biggest correction concerns taxes. The often repeated claim that Mauritius offers a 15% flat personal tax rate is no longer accurate for ordinary individual taxpayers. From the income year beginning July 1, 2026, the system uses progressive bands, including a new 35% rate for income above MUR 12 million. The island can still be tax efficient, especially for people with foreign income and carefully structured remittances. But it is not a universal 15% personal tax jurisdiction. Mauritius Revenue Authority, PwC Mauritius. The short verdict: Mauritius is a strong candidate for retirees with reliable foreign pensions, investment income or savings, remote workers whose employers and clients are outside Mauritius, families willing to pay for private or international schooling, people who value stability, moderate population size, and a slower lifestyle, residents who do not mind owning a car and paying more for imported goods. It is a weaker fit for people seeking Bali's low-cost services and enormous cultural scene, people seeking Dubai's malls, nightlife, international connectivity, and abundance, families who want a completely walkable, transit-oriented lifestyle, anyone expecting tropical living to be inexpensive across every category. Grand Baie, Tamarin, or Mocha. For the full table, please open this article on movingabroad.life. These are planning ranges rather than official market medians. Furnishing, views, security, pool access, lease length, development quality, and proximity to schools can move prices substantially. Recent asking listings illustrate the market. Examples include 2-bedroom rentals around MUR 60,000 to 65,000 per month in the Grand Baie area, a 3-bedroom Grand Baie duplex around MUR 120,000, a 3-bedroom Grand Baie apartment listed above MUR 26 million, and a 1-bedroom Mocha property listed around MUR 18.75 million. Revo Property Mauritius. Habitat Immobilier. Safety and island stability. Mauritius's main lifestyle advantage is not simply its beaches. It is the combination of relative social stability, functioning institutions, established banking, and a multicultural population accustomed to foreign residence. The Economic Development Board presents Mauritius as a politically and socially stable jurisdiction with modern infrastructure and international connectivity. Economic Development Board Mauritius. For everyday life, Mauritius generally feels calm and manageable. English is widely used in business and healthcare. French is common in education and daily life, and Mauritian Creole is the language heard most often socially. However, safe should not be interpreted as risk-free. Practical risks include opportunistic theft in busy tourist areas, burglary concerns for isolated or poorly secured villas, road accidents, and aggressive or unpredictable driving, beach and ocean hazards, particularly around surf areas, cyclone-related disruption, flooding or drainage problems after intense rainfall. Grand Baie is lively and convenient, but its tourist concentration means more traffic and more seasonal activity. Tamarin is generally quieter and residential, although standalone homes and more dispersed neighborhoods require sensible security. Mocha is calmer and more institutional, with a stronger school, healthcare, and business orientation. The most important safety decision is often not the town itself, but the property. Check lighting, gates, shutters, drainage, flood exposure, backup water, and whether the building has a reliable management company. Housing. Renting before buying is the sensible strategy. Foreigners cannot simply purchase any ordinary house or parcel of land in Mauritius without restrictions. Under the current Immigration Act, a non-citizen purchasing qualifying property under approved schemes, including the Property Development Scheme, Integrated Resort Scheme, Real Estate Scheme, Invest Hotel Scheme, or Smart City Scheme, may qualify for residence if the purchase price is at least USD $375,000. Certain apartments in buildings of at least ground plus 2 floors may also be acquired under the applicable rules. Immigration Act 2022. That means the first step should usually be rent for at least 6 to 12 months. Test the commute during school and office hours. Check internet performance at the actual address. Experience cyclone season and summer humidity. Compare healthcare access and school transport. Only then consider buying. Grand Baie has the island's deepest supply of furnished rentals, from compact apartments to gated villas. A good one-bedroom apartment may fall around MUR $35,000 to $55,000 per month, while a two-bedroom unit commonly falls around MUR $50,000 to $80,000. Three-bedroom apartments and duplexes often move into the MUR $80,000 to $140,000 range. Buying is more expensive near the coast, marinas, golf developments, and established tourist districts. A practical planning range is 1 or 2 bedroom apartment, MUR 12 to 25 million. 3 bedroom apartment or penthouse, MUR 25 to 50 million. Good villa, MUR 35 to 80 million. Prime or large luxury villa, potentially well above MUR 100 million. Tamarin appeals to families who want a more relaxed West Coast setting. It has restaurants, surf, beaches, supermarkets, and access to the wider Black River and Cascavel areas, but it is more spread out than Grand Baie. Typical planning figures are 1 or 2 bedroom apartment, MUR 35,000 to 70,000 per month. 3 bedroom apartment or house, MUR 70,000 to 130,000. Larger villa with pool, often MUR 100,000 to 250,000 or more. Apartments for purchase, approximately MUR 12 to 30 million. Family homes, approximately MUR 25 to 60 million, with luxury properties considerably higher. Tamarin can feel better value than Grand Baie if you value space and quiet over nightlife. The trade-off is that errands, schools, hospitals, and activities may require more driving. Mocha is one of the best areas for families who prioritize schools, healthcare, modern developments, offices, and access to the Central Plateau. It is also generally cooler than the coast. Rental planning ranges include 1 or 2 bedroom apartment, MUR 30,000 to 60,000 per month. 3 bedroom apartment, MUR 60,000 to 110,000. Larger family house, roughly MUR 80,000 to 180,000, depending on development and land. Purchase prices often begin higher than newcomers expect, because Mocha is associated with newer developments, international schools, business districts, and high-income residential demand. The main compromise is psychological, as much as geographical. Mocha provides a comfortable modern lifestyle, but it does not feel like living beside the ocean. Realistic monthly budgets. Mauritius can be comfortable on less than Dubai, but a foreign household that rents in a desirable area, owns a car, eats imported food, and uses private healthcare can spend considerably more than online cheap island living. Estimates suggest. Retired couple. A comfortable retired couple renting a 1 or 2 bedroom property might budget as follows. For the full table, please open this article on movingabroad.life. A couple living simply in Mocha may manage below that range. A couple renting a sea view apartment in Grand Baie or Tamarin and dining out regularly may exceed it. For a realistic, comfortable target, I would use MUR $130,000 to $180,000 per month in Mocha. MUR $150,000 to $220,000 per month in Grand Baie or Tamarin. These estimates exclude international flights, major medical procedures, tax, debt payments, and expensive hobbies such as boating or golf. Family of 4. A family with 2 children in international school faces a very different budget. For the full table, please open this article on movingabroad.life. A reasonable planning budget for a comfortable family lifestyle is MUR $275,000 to $400,000 per month, before major travel and income tax. The school bill is often the decisive factor. At Saint-Exupéry International School in Grand Baie, published fees for the September 2026 to August 2027 school year are MUR $222,000 per child annually, or MUR $18,500 per month over 12 payments. There is also a non-refundable initial registration fee of MUR $40,000 and a refundable deposit of MUR $37,000. Saint-Exupéry International School. Private schools with different curricula, older students, boarding arrangements, transport, meals, and extracurricular activities may cost substantially more. Mauritius also experienced 4.4% year-on-year inflation in July 2026, while headline inflation for 2025 was 3.7%. That does not make the island unaffordable, but it argues against building a retirement plan with no margin for rising costs. Statistics Mauritius. The tax reality, the 15% flat tax, needs updating. This is the most important correction for anyone researching Mauritius. Current personal income tax bands. For the income year beginning July 1, 2026, the personal income tax structure is: first, MUR 500,000 of chargeable income, 0%. Next, MUR 500,000, 10%. Income from MUR 1 million to MUR 12 million, 20%. Income above MUR 12 million, 35%. The higher band replaces the temporary fair share contribution approach used for high earners under the previous regime. PwC Mauritius, Government of Mauritius, Budget 2026 to 2027. So where does the 15% figure come from? It is a mixture of outdated information and confusion between different taxes. Mauritius has a 15% VAT rate, and the country has historically been associated with a 15% personal or corporate tax headline. But a normal individual resident in Mauritius is no longer taxed at a simple flat 15% rate. Mauritius Revenue Authority. Someone with MUR 3 million of chargeable income would pay approximately 0% on the first MUR 500,000, MUR $50,000 on the next MUR 500,000, MUR $400,000 on the remaining MUR 2 million. That produces total income tax of roughly MUR 450,000, or an effective rate of about 15%. But that is an effective outcome at one income level, not a statutory flat rate. Available exemptions and deductions. Mauritius still has several useful exemptions, deductions, and reliefs, including dividends paid by Mauritius resident companies, interest on qualifying savings and fixed deposit accounts, gains from the sale of certain securities, units, or debt obligations, qualifying retirement and pension lump sums, dependent deductions, certain medical insurance premiums, approved individual pension contributions, some private school deductions, solar energy and rainwater harvesting allowances. The 2026 budget increased the exemption threshold for qualifying pension, retirement, and severance lump sums from MUR 3 million to MUR 3.5 million. The exact treatment depends on the type of payment and the taxpayer's circumstances. Mauritius Revenue Authority, Government of Mauritius, Budget 2026 to 2027. A resident individual may claim personal reliefs and deductions, while non-residents generally do not receive the same allowances. Foreign tax credits may also be available where the same income has been taxed abroad. Mauritius Revenue Authority, Premium Visa Tax Treatment. Premium visa holders receive a particularly important remittance-based treatment. Foreign employment income is generally taxed in Mauritius only when remitted. Spending locally with a foreign credit or debit card is not automatically treated as remitting income. Money deposited into a Mauritian bank account may avoid additional Mauritius tax if the applicant declares that the applicable tax has already been paid abroad. This does not mean that every premium visa holder is tax-free. Tax residence, the source of income, the nature of the activity, treaty rules, and remittance patterns all matter. Economic Development Board Mauritius, Premium Visa FAQ. Tax residence. An individual is generally treated as resident for Mauritius tax purposes if present in Mauritius for 183 days or more in an income year, or for an aggregate of 270 days across the current and preceding 2 income years, subject to the relevant legal rules. Foreign income can become taxable when received or remitted into Mauritius, with relief potentially available for foreign tax paid. Mauritius Revenue Authority. Americans should also remember that moving to Mauritius does not eliminate U.S. tax obligations. U.S. citizens and green card holders should obtain cross-border tax advice before changing residence, banking arrangements, or investment structures. Residency routes in 2026. Premium Visa. The Premium Visa is the simplest option for testing Mauritius or working remotely from the island. It is valid for up to 1 year, renewable, free of processing charges, multi-entry, available to eligible remote workers, retirees, long-stay visitors, and accompanying families. Applicants must show a long stay plan, accommodation, travel and health insurance, recent bank statements, income of at least $1,500 per month for each adult, income of at least $500 per month for each dependent child. The applicant must not enter the Mauritius labor market. The main business or income source must remain outside Mauritius. Passport and Immigration Office. Economic Development Board Mauritius. The premium visa is best for a 1-year trial move, remote workers with overseas employers, retirees who want to rent before committing, families testing schools and neighborhoods. It is not by itself a permanent residence permit or a local work authorization. Someone who wants to work for a Mauritian employer or run a local business must transition to the appropriate permit. Retired non-citizen residence permit. For retirees aged 50 or over, the retired non-citizen route is one of Mauritius's most attractive options. The current headline requirements are: initial transfer of at least $2,000 into a local bank account within 60 days of issuance. Subsequent transfers of $2,000 per month or $24,000 per year. Residence permit valid for up to 10 years. Renewal subject to the conditions being maintained. A retired non-citizen may invest in a business but cannot be employed in that business, or receive a salary or employment benefits from it. Dependents may apply for residence permits for the same duration. Residency in Mauritius. Residency in Mauritius. The $24,000 is not a government fee. It is money the retiree transfers for living expenses and maintains under the program's conditions. After holding the retired residence permit for at least 5 years and transferring at least $200,000 over that period, the retiree may qualify to apply for a 20-year permanent residence permit. Residency in Mauritius. Occupation permit. The occupation permit combines residence and the right to work in Mauritius. It is generally relevant to professionals employed by a Mauritian company, investors establishing a local business, self-employed professionals, approved innovative startups. The updated professional threshold is generally a basic monthly salary of at least MUR 50,000. The 2026 policy package also provides for changes to investor and self-employed criteria, including a higher investor threshold of $100,000, new turnover requirements, and revised self-employed income thresholds. Residency in Mauritius. Government of Mauritius, Budget 2026-2027. The government's immigration and residency pages are in the process of being synchronized with the 2026 changes. Anyone applying should verify the final criteria in the National Electronic Licensing System before transferring money or incorporating a business. Property-based residence. Buying qualifying property at or above $375,000 can create eligibility for a residence permit, but this is not the same as being allowed to purchase any property on the island. The property must fit the approved legal categories. Buyers should use a Mauritian attorney or notary to verify whether the project is EDB approved, whether the title is clean, whether the purchase actually qualifies for residence, whether the residence permit remains linked to ownership. Registration, land and transfer costs. Rules affecting resale or rental. Permanent residence and golden visa. Mauritius introduced a new golden visa framework in 2026 for high net worth investors. The golden visa is designed for applicants who commit to investing at least $1 million within the first 12 months in qualifying high-value sectors, such as fintech, financial services, ICT, healthcare, education, renewable energy, biotechnology, tourism, and other approved areas. It is initially granted for up to 2 years, renewable, and extends to the spouse and dependent children. Once the qualifying investment is made, the holder becomes eligible to apply for permanent residence. Economic Development Board Mauritius. Government of Mauritius, Budget 2026-2027. This is not a normal retiree route and should not be confused with simply buying a holiday apartment. The 2026 reforms also provide for the abolition of the family occupation permit category. Families should therefore plan around dependents attached to the main applicant's permit, rather than assuming a separate family investment route will remain available. Government of Mauritius, Budget 2026-2027. Healthcare access. Mauritius has a 2-tier healthcare system. The public system includes regional hospitals, district hospitals, specialized facilities, community health centers, and outpatient services. The latest government health report recorded approximately 3,950 doctors, including more than 1,200 specialists, and nearly 4,928 beds across public and private institutions at the end of 2024. Ministry of Health and Wellness. The private system is more attractive to many expatriates because of shorter waits, more comfortable facilities, English-speaking staff, and easier access to specialist appointments. Relevant facilities include Seacare Grand Baie, Seacare Welkin and Mocha, Seacare Darnay, other private clinics and laboratories across the island. The British government's list of English-speaking medical facilities identifies both Seacare Grand Baie and Seacare Welkin and Mocha. There are important caveats. Medical treatment is not automatically free for foreigners. Public hospitals may still require payment. Private hospitals often request payment or insurance confirmation in advance. Highly specialized treatment may require travel to larger regional medical centers abroad. For retirees, comprehensive private insurance with evacuation coverage is strongly advisable. For families, check pediatric, maternity, dental, and specialist coverage before selecting a policy. Mocha has the strongest central healthcare advantage, particularly for access to Welkin and the Central Plateau. Grand Baie has local private access, but may require longer travel for complex treatment. Tamarin residents typically use facilities in the West, Central Plateau, or Mocha, depending on the specialty. Climate comfort and cyclone risk. Mauritius has a warm tropical climate, but the three locations feel noticeably different. Grand Baie is one of the island's more comfortable areas during the wetter months. It is warm, bright, and strongly oriented toward outdoor living. The downside is summer heat and humidity, especially in homes without good ventilation or air conditioning. Tamarin is known for its dry West Coast feel, dramatic sunsets, surf culture, and warm temperatures. It can be hot, particularly in sheltered areas, but many residents prefer its drier atmosphere to the wetter central and eastern parts of the island. Mocha sits inland and at a higher elevation. It is often cooler and more comfortable for people who dislike intense coastal heat, but it is also wetter and cloudier. Rainfall can be much more noticeable around the mountain areas. Cyclone season. Cyclones are a genuine part of life in Mauritius. The main risk period runs broadly from November through April, with the most serious conditions often concentrated during the middle of the season. A cyclone may cause flight cancellations, school closures, power interruptions, internet outages, flooding, roof and window damage, delays in food and fuel deliveries. Before signing a lease or buying, check whether the home has hurricane shutters or storm-resistant windows, or reinforced roof. Good drainage, a raised electrical system, backup water storage, a generator or battery system, safe parking, clear access to main roads. The north and west are often preferred by residents seeking drier, more sheltered conditions, but no part of Mauritius is completely cyclone-proof. Internet reliability and remote work. Mauritius has a well-developed telecommunication system, including fiber broadband and island-wide mobile connectivity. The Economic Development Board specifically promotes Mauritius as a destination with reliable telecommunications networks and modern digital infrastructure. Economic Development Board Mauritius. For most remote workers, internet service is adequate in Grand Baie, Tamarin, Mocha, and other established urban areas. The reliability is property-specific. Before moving in, verify whether fiber is already installed, which providers serve the building, whether the landlord permits new installation, mobile signal strength inside the home, whether the building has backup power, whether the internet connection fails during storms. Remote workers should maintain a backup mobile data connection, and for critical work, a UPS or small power station. The premium visa may make Mauritius attractive for remote work, but a serious professional should not rely on one internet line and an unstable electricity supply during cyclone conditions. International Schools and Family Life Mauritius has a respectable selection of international and private schools, but it is not a giant education market like Dubai or Bali. Examples include Saint-Exupéry International School near Grand Baie, Le Bocage International School in Mocha, international and bilingual schools serving the West Coast and Tamarin areas, French, British, IB, and other private school pathways, depending on the child's age and the school. The strongest school-related arguments for Mocha are its access to education infrastructure, the Central Plateau, and healthcare. Grand Baie offers a more enjoyable lifestyle for teenagers and parents who want beaches, restaurants, and a social community. Tamarin is attractive for families who prioritize outdoor life and a quieter environment. The challenges are, admissions can be competitive. Tuition varies significantly by school and age. School transport can add a meaningful cost. Daily driving may be unavoidable. Some families may need to choose a home based on school location rather than lifestyle preference. For a family, the correct sequence is often school first, home second. The three main trade-offs: import costs. Mauritius is an island economy. Local produce, some seafood, and many locally available services can be reasonable. Imported goods can be expensive. Expect higher prices for cars and replacement parts, electronics, furniture, specialty foods, wine and imported alcohol, baby products, branded clothing, home improvement materials. Mauritius applies a 15% VAT rate to taxable supplies, in addition to customs duties and, for some products, excise taxes. Mauritius Revenue Authority. The result is that Mauritius can be affordable if you live locally, shop locally, and avoid constant imports. It becomes much less affordable if you try to recreate a North American, European, or Dubai lifestyle from imported products. Car dependence. Mauritius has buses and taxis, but most foreign families and retirees eventually want access to a car. A car is especially useful for school runs, medical appointments, grocery shopping, beach access, exploring different parts of the island, reaching restaurants and services outside tourist centers. Mocha is somewhat better connected to central business and education areas. Tamarin and Grand Baie are more lifestyle-oriented and more dispersed. Neither provides the kind of seamless metro-based life found in Dubai. For Americans, driving on the left side of the road is another adjustment. A smaller cultural and nightlife scale. Grand Baie has a real social scene, with restaurants, bars, beach clubs, live music, and seasonal nightlife. Tamarin has a more relaxed surf and restaurant culture. Mocha has modern developments, cafes, schools, offices, and family amenities. But the scale is limited. Compared with Bali, Mauritius has less nightlife variety, a smaller arts and cultural scene, fewer neighborhoods built around digital nomads, less constant social activity, fewer ultra-cheap restaurants and services. Compared with Dubai, Mauritius has far fewer malls, less luxury retail, fewer international events, a smaller airline network, less 24-hour convenience, a much slower commercial rhythm. That smaller scale is either the point or the problem. Some people find it peaceful. Others feel they have done the island's main attractions within a few months. Final assessment. Mauritius is not the cheapest tropical destination, and it is not the most exciting. Its appeal lies elsewhere. Stability, manageable scale, residency options, private healthcare, decent internet, and a lifestyle that is easier to organize than life in many larger or more chaotic destinations. For retirees, the strongest case is the 10-year retired non-citizen permit, relatively modest transfer requirement, warm climate, and ability to choose between beach towns and the cooler Central Plateau. For families, the strongest case is safety, international schooling, English and French-speaking services, and a more measured pace of life. The main warning is cost. Rent, tuition, car ownership, insurance, and imported goods can push a family budget well above what lifestyle blogs imply. For remote workers, the premium visa is an excellent testing mechanism, especially if foreign income is structured carefully and spent through foreign accounts or cards, but it should not be mistaken for a local employment permit or a guarantee of permanent residence. The best overall strategy is to rent first, choose the school or healthcare network before choosing the neighborhood, and budget for a car, private insurance, cyclone resilience, and rising imported goods costs. If your ideal life is a quiet tropical base with beaches, modern services, and straightforward residency, Mauritius deserves serious consideration. If you want Bali's cultural abundance or Dubai's limitless convenience, the island may eventually feel too small. Grand Baie is the best all-rounder. Tamarin is the best lifestyle compromise. Mocha is the best practical base. All links to sources are available in the text version of this article. You can find the full article at movingabroad.life/blog. Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening to Moving Abroad Life. If this episode helped you get closer to your next move, make sure to subscribe so you never miss a new deep dive. For the full written breakdown, comparison data, and relocation resources, open your browser and type movingabroad.life right into your address bar. That's movingabroad.life, 2 words, movingabroad.life. New research drops multiple times a week. See you in the next one.